is awesome. So we're going to get started here. Good to have everybody be with us today. Just a couple of things here at the first. We have myself, Chad Ogden, president of QFloors here, who will kind of be hosting and directing this webinar that we've got going today. Also, we have Licia Bailey, who is our project manager over QPro. She's been in charge of overseeing and taking care of this project from the very start when we've been doing this, and it's been really great to have her in charge of that. So she'll be here for any questions we might have. Aaron Ogden is also kind of moderating and watching some of the watching for the questions. You can post questions in this webinar, and we will be answering those questions after the presentation that we have here. So I think that's going to be the easiest way for us to handle these and fill these. This is going to be pretty informal today. It's more of a catch everybody up that wants to know where things are at, and kind of give a good understanding of where things are with QFloors and with QPro, and just kind of a catch-up session. We're getting a lot of questions as we attend a lot of our trade shows and things like that. So I think it's just for us to touch base with people that are interested and try to field any questions that people might have about QFloors, QPro, development, that kind of stuff, so that you can have a better idea of what's going on. So with that, I think we're just going to go ahead and get started here. It looks like most people are logged in that are ready to go here. First of all, I just wanted to start by talking about QFloors for just a second. We continually are continuing to develop on QFloors, and we have developers that are working on that every day. Over the last year, we've released, I was going to go count them before, but I think it's right around 20 new versions with bug fixes, additional features. We keep extending what we're doing there. So we haven't stopped developing or adding to QFloors. It's still our main program, our main software. It's the one people are using every day. Just to give you an idea, we have about 1,300 customers that are using QFloors and QPro, and so about 1,300 using QFloors, and about 50 of those are using QPro. And so, QFloors is still the main program and the main software that people are using every day. And so we continue to add to it and develop it. And when people are coming on, the majority of our customers are QFloors customers. Just to kind of give you an idea, I think we had around 140 new customers added last year, and about 20 of those were QPro customers. So still the majority of people that are joining our company and our technology are QFloors users, and QPro is still just the smaller portion of what's going on there. So we continue to develop QFloors, continue to fix bugs. We will be releasing another official version of QFloors coming up here within the next month or so. We're just at the end of finishing most of the bug fixes that we're aware of right now. We like to let it set for a little while once we finish that, and then we'll be doing an official release. And then a couple of weeks after the official release, we'll be updating all of our QCloud customers at that time too. So that's kind of how it goes. So if you notice on our website, we have our pre-release versions and our official releases. Pre-releases are things where we're continuing to work on things, and people that want some of those advanced features before we have an official release. That's how it kind of works. Been working on some stuff for a while now. And now we're coming up to an official release to where everybody will be upgraded here in the next, I'm going to give us about a month. We still have this big Surfaces TISE, TISE, the International Surface Event or whatever that is. That's coming up next week, and we've been gone to trade shows for like the last month. So that's kind of what's going on, what we've been doing. We have this one last big show, and then we'll have a break for a while. And we didn't want to release any major new versions while we were in the middle of being in and out of the office. So that's kind of what we're doing. We are extremely busy on our phones right now. We're fielding, like yesterday, we were all kind of helping out. We had over 100 phone calls by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we continue to be extremely busy. We anticipate that the phones will start slowing down again after about the 1st of February. The other things that we're working on, Postgres, within the next little bit also, we're going to start converting our customers over to a new database technology. We've been using our other database technology, Sybase and SQLite, now for about the last 20 years. And so this is a conversion, updating us to more recent technologies for database storage purposes. So that's going to be a huge upgrade for across our whole company of QFloors users. We're going to gradually start doing that. It'll be in phases that we will be doing that. But it will require some installation of some new software and things like that. So it's a pretty major upgrade for our company, but it's time for us to do it. It will give us some faster response times for our databases. We've been testing it. It is quite a bit faster, so people with bigger databases should see an improvement in some of the speed in some certain areas. So, so that's one of the really big things that we're working on right now. QConnect is another big technology that people are really getting excited about. This gives our QFloors users the ability to share information to the outside world, to other technologies that need to use QFloors information. It also allows outside technologies to give us information. So we've been working on this now for a while, and people are using it and have been using it over the last couple of years, but we're extending the capabilities of QConnect so that websites and other programs that need our information can share that seamlessly back and forth. And so we're continuing to develop that. A lot of cool things, cool features that will be available with that. The other big thing that we continue to work on is QPro Pay. That's another huge thing for us and our customers. We have 150 QFloors users that have signed up for QPro Pay over the last 2 years. It's going really well. I was just at a training out in Orlando, and the people that had it there had nothing but good to say about it, and all the integrations and the possibilities of sending pay now requests to people has just been really good. So we're extending that, and I was just going to show you real quick. So the people that do have QPro Pay that are on this call, you're probably familiar with this screen. This is the screen that that we currently send our customers to fill out a pay now request. So it's a website where customers that want to make a payment, we can send them a link. They come to a site like this, fill it out, and we can take a payment online, right? Well, we are and will be releasing over the next probably month or so. Again, we're really close to getting this done. This new screen, this screen right here, I was just going to show you actually, let's see, kind of put that in there, but this is what the new screen will look like, where you can put in credit cards or checks, and it's just a new fresh feel and look, and it'll allow us to do a lot. It's a custom QPro Pay screen that we've been working on that will extend the capabilities of things that we can do with this. And one of those capabilities that will be coming is that we can store the payment all the way back into QFloors without you having to manually type it in. So we're really excited about the additions of QPro Pay. So these are some of the things that are on the near future, things that we're currently working on, as well as all the other suggestions that people give us. We're adding little things here and there as the suggestions come in and improving our software in other ways too. So that's just kind of an update on QFloors and what's going on with that, right? And I'll take any other questions about QFloors or any of the what's going on there afterwards. So let's get on to QPro, since that's kind of what we were here to talk about in the first place, right? Well, let me click over to this screen. This is what we call QPro. If you've ever seen this before, we released this version of QPro. It was about 3 years ago now, when we've been working on it for a while, and then we've gotten people on it. And for the last 3 years or so, this is the version people have been using. It's now known as QPro 1 is kind of the name for it. And you can see that, you know, this is kind of what it looked like. Recently, we have released a new version called QPro 2. And this is kind of what it looks like, right? So if you see QPro 1, you've got your sales orders, you click on it, the details of the sales order come up on the right-hand side of the screen. And then this would be QPro 2, where it's the same type of thing, right? Where you have the cells on the left-hand side of the screen, you click on them here over here, and the details come up over here on the right side of the screen, okay? So the ship to, sold to, build to up here, the totals, all the numbers, and then all the details of what are on a sales order. So this is kind of the difference between the two, right? So we have been working for the last 3 or 4 months to convert all of our QPro 1 customers over to QPro 2. We have about 50 that are now on 50 dealers that are on QPro 2 using it. We have 8 was the last report, 8 more customers to move over. We probably won't move those over until after the Surfaces event in Las Vegas next week. We don't want to do that while we're out of town. And I think that some of the people that are going to that event don't want to do it until they get back in town too. So looking about the 1st of February, we will be moving the rest of our customers off of QPro 1. And then at that time, we will actually shut down QPro 1. So nobody will be using that anymore. All of our customers will be in this environment. Now, you got to understand a little bit. I think I've told this a few times, but I think it's worth repeating. We were actually developing QPro 1 and QPro 2 at the same time with 2 different teams of developers. We were unsure which way would be the best way to go. So we actually had 2 different teams working on 2 different technologies. And in the end, we could tell that the way that we had done QPro 2 and the tools that we were using, the things that we had developed, in the end are going to be much better. And so actually 2 years ago, we started all over again developing QPro 2. And now we're at the point where QPro 2 has all the features of QPro 1. And now we're in the process of migrating everybody over here. The questions that I always get that are good questions is, why is it taking so long, right? And it has. It's taken, you know, years longer, more than twice as long, cost more than twice the money than we ever thought that it would take. And it's just a hard thing to do, and much harder and much more complicated than what I ever anticipated. Even with all the years of programming that I had, it was a different kind of programming where I'd never programmed in a web environment before, and just we did not estimate very well the complexities and how hard it would be. But since then, we have seen other companies, big companies like QuickBooks and stuff like that, that have the same kind of struggles. It took QuickBooks more than 10 years to get their QuickBooks Online version to do almost all the same things as their QuickBooks Pro version. And so it's not just us. It generally is harder to develop web-based, browser-based software programs. This will eventually replace QFloors. So this is our future technology for QFloors. We still feel that. We still think that that's the way to go and what will be best for all of our customers. And so we're continuing on this path. And I think as we talk to people around us, people outside of our company, technology people, other software companies that are not even in floor covering, I still get the vibe that we're doing the right thing, and that for the future, this is going to be the right thing. We've had competitors within our industry that have started down this path that have quit after a couple of years when they saw it was going to be too hard. These are major competitors of ours. They could just tell that it was going to cost too much and take too long, and so they quit. We haven't done that, and we're not going to do that. I'm very much committed to make sure this technology rolls out to our industry. It's only going to be the best thing for all of us. All not just QFloors customers or QPro customers, but for our industry to lead out through this. And there are other programs on the market that are similar to QPro that I would say that QFloor, I've looked at them. The features we have in QPro are far superior. The way that it works, the way that it interacts with people. This feels like QFloors in a browser. That's the hardest part, right? Is how do you make a browser-based software system feel and act just like it would on your own computer? Because if it doesn't feel and act, if it's too slow, if it doesn't, feel like you can work it in, it's going to slow you down, people are going to be extremely frustrated because of their expectations with QFloors. So these are all the things that we're dealing with, but I can tell you, that this QPro 2 version that we have, QPro 1 was great. I'm not saying that wasn't a good technology and that we were going down the wrong way there, but this even is a step beyond that. It feels even more like QFloors than what QPro 1 did. So it's got more of the QFloors look, more of the QFloors feel. And I'm going to take you through some of the things that we're doing here to kind of show you on that. Let's see. But yeah, I think that that we're going the right way. Now, just before I start, I mentioned that we're moving all of our QPro 1 customers over here, right? Well, our next step will be to start moving actual QFloors customers. And we do have a few QFloors customers that have already moved, but we have a conversion program where we will convert QFloors data into QPro data. And we will start to move users and QFloors users that don't need all the features that are in QFloors over, and that will probably start to take place here towards the end of spring. I'm looking April, May-ish is what we're shooting for there. And the people that would be candidates for that are people that are using just the very minimum parts of QFloors, like filling out a sales order, maybe doing some purchase orders, that kind of thing. But they're not doing a lot of the advanced features that QFloors has. So, and obviously we don't have any accounting in here yet either. So QFloors users that aren't using our accounting system would also kind of be candidates. If you are using our accounting system, I really suggest that you do not move over. It's going from our integrated accounting and trying to go out and switch out and going back to two different software systems is just not the best option in my mind. But there are a handful, well, more than a handful. There's a little section of people, dealers that don't use any accounting and QFloors, and some of those people will be good candidates to start moving. And then as we start to add more and more features into QPro, as we start to do that, more and more of our QFloors customers will be able to switch over. I often get the question, well, when's the accounting going to be done and in here? The real answer is we don't know for sure. If I'm guessing, we're still like another 2 years away. I think that we'll have a lot of the features in there next year, but what we've seen with this requires a lot of testing and a lot of tweaking. Even when we get the features in there, it's still, I think this last version took us about 6 months to get all the bugs out to where we felt comfortable to get people on. So, that's kind of our best guess right now. Once we get everybody up on QPro 2, we will have another design and development meeting. We'll sit down and write out everything that needs to be done in here for the accounting, because those will kind of be the next step. And we will have a better feel for what that is. But that's kind of my gut feel, is it's not right around the corner. It's still a little ways away. But as we release more and more features, we will let you know and give you a better idea of what that all looks like. So that's me talking for 25 minutes about everything. And so I'm just going to give you a little just a little browse around what QPro 2, the latest version of QPro, what it can do, what it does, and all that kind of stuff, and just give you kind of a feel for what's going on here. And then we'll kind of talk about that anymore. So first of all, as you come in here, you can see that we have these tabs up here at the top, okay? And they're very similar to what you would find in QFloors. You have our sales tab, our materials tab, our employees tab, just like we have the buttons at the top of QFloors, right? Then we've added a couple more. We've taken these out of the menus, and the reports and the setups are here. So let's just kind of give you an idea. I'm going to come over to the setup screen. First of all, actually, when I come back to sales here, maybe I can just show you at the top here. We have these buttons up here at the top. So you're familiar with the sales screen, sales on the left, details on the right. If I press this button right here, you can see that it does away with the list part of the screen. And now I just see the detail part, right? The sold to, the shipped to, the numbers down here at the bottom, and then all of the sales order lines would be over here on the right-hand side. If I click the other arrow, it shows me the list screen and which one that I'm clicked on here, right? And then if I hit the middle button, then it shows me the split, okay? So that's kind of an interesting type of feature there. This is our B2B button, our B2B screen. When you click on this is where we do all of our B2B stuff. And then this is our contact manager up here that we use. I'm not going to get too much into that. The other things that you can do, like in a web browser, right? You can duplicate the tab. So if I wanted to hit duplicate here, I'm right clicking on the tab up here at the top and hit duplicate, it will bring me to another browser tab. And now I can have two browser tabs up at the same time. Or I could do another one, right? And hit duplicate again. Now I have three tabs, right? And maybe one of these I want to keep on my materials screen, and the other ones I want to keep on my sales screen. And so you could look at more than just one sales order at a time or materials. So this is a way where you can see multiple screens at one time. Okay. So those are kind of some of the cool things about navigation that you can do. Let's come back over to our setup screen here, where I was starting to go. And the thing that you'll notice about our setup screen is that in QFloors, there's a menu item for every setup window. In this, there's one window for all of them. So you can see we have our company information here. Then I scroll down a little bit. We have our locations set up, our sales tax table, our product types, which used to be, or which currently is in QFloors on our product catalog screen. We have our labor types, customer accounts, vendor accounts, sales commissions, retail price formula, product catalog. So all of these, you can make changes right in here on any of these windows without exiting and coming back in. And you'll also see there are shortcuts over here on the left-hand side, right? So if you just click on any of these, it will scroll right to that window where that's at, right? So if I come down to my product catalog where we just were, by either scrolling or hitting that button, these are all open at the same time too, right? So I've got manufacturer, and by the way, we've renamed style to description in QPro just so that it's more generic, because we have people that are doing flooring, but we also have people doing paint, we have people doing cabinets, we have people doing all different kinds of other trades, right? So description is a more generic name that we're using other than style, but it's the same thing. So we have our manufacturer, we have our style and our color all on the same screen here. So you don't have to go in and out, okay? So if I were to select something like Mohawk or Shaw, either one, doesn't matter. Then I come down to description right here, and you can see all the descriptions or style names that correspond to Shaw, right? And you can either start to enter them, or you can just pick one of these. And then when you do that, then it has all the colors down here so that you can just pick, one of your colors, or or you can type in a new color here and just add it right here and hit save, right? So it's pretty, you just do it right there, and then there's a save button that will come up. I guess you have to hit new first and then do this, and then you can hit save once you start putting this stuff in. So this is kind of how the product catalog works, where you don't have to go in and out and back and forth between some of the windows that are in there. You can just type them all in where you're at right now. Okay, so this is a setup screen. Coming over to our sales screen, this is probably the one that is the most unique and different than what we're used to. You can see we have our list, and most of this all works kind of the same way. The filters, you'll notice that we have our date filters up here at the top instead of at the bottom where they used to be down here. So this is all up here at the top, and the filters for each column are right underneath the column. So if I wanted to go to a name, and if I type in B, you can see that it just brings up the BR, just kind of like what it does in QFloors right now. You can put multiple searches in here. So if I wanted to come to the orders like that, I just do B and O, and it brings me right to the orders. So you can combine multiple searches in this window right here. So this is actually a little bit more powerful than the way QFloors works right now, right? Because you can combine more things together. Like in QFloors, if you just click on the top, it will sort one way. If you click again, it reverse sorts, just like it does in QFloors. You can, right here on this button, you can add or hide columns right in here. And then I believe you can reorder columns by just clicking down and moving the columns back and forth to reorder them into different ways like that. So that's just to reload the list. And then we've got like our CSV files to print out. You don't have to hold shift print anymore. I guess like in QFloors, you have to do shift print. Right here, we just have buttons for PDFs and CSV files you can print out. So, and then we have like our other quick reports up here at the top, just like what we do in QFloors. We'll be adding more reports to this as we go along. Okay, so this works very similar to QFloors. In QPro 2, we have a lot more icons on the side over here and right above the sales order line, right? So these icons kind of do everything. If you hover over them, they will tell you what they all mean. So like new, right? You click on new, okay, it blanks everything out and you can start typing in on one again, right? We have, let's see. We have the save button here, and if we change something in here, that save button goes red, just like you do in QFloors. So you can see how that goes red. To print, you know, if you wanted to print the sales order here, just hit the print button just like you do in QFloors, and it will bring it up. I might have to hit, oh, there it comes. So you can see how we have these printouts here now. You can change them. Right now, this is the way that you change which one that you're actually looking at, is just by clicking on those buttons. So the printing, you can select a contact. So if you come to the contact manager, select one of these, it will automatically fill in the ship or the sold to up here, just right from your contact list. I'm going to skip job costing for a second. You have a kit catalog. This is kind of like your product catalog, except for we have a catalog of kits in here. So I was just going to show you this carpet one. So a kit is a combination of products, labor, and comments, right? So if I open this kit, you can see that this has a couple of products and a couple of labor items in here, right? And so you can create these kits to be whatever you want them to be. So you can imagine like for a shower or something like that, where you have a ton of grout and a ton of, you know, trim pieces or other things that you don't want to forget. You can create them in here and then you can bring them down onto your sales order. And I'll show you how you do that in just a second. So it's a catalog of kits, just like we have a catalog of products, right? We have a document manager in here. You can drag and drop files, just like our document manager in QFloors. It's a little bit more integrated than the one that we have in QFloors. So it works a lot more seamlessly than the QFloors one. We are looking to add a document manager to each of the screens. So not just the cells, but for the materials and for the bills and for the lead, you know, we will have a document manager inside of each one of those, just so you know. Notes is another big one that's a change from QFloors. You know, we've always had people asking for more notes, more comments. So now we have a comment section just for cells in here. And by the way, you can see that you can format all of these things in different ways here. You can cut and paste, you can bold, you can underline, you know, all these kinds of things. So you can format the way things are going to be in here, okay? The other part is work order comments. These would be separate so that the sales order comments can print out with the cells, or the work order comments can print out with the work orders. So you can separate those. In QFloors, we don't have really two sections like this right now. The sales order notes, these are timestamp notes so that when you put a comment in here, let me see, this is a note, timestamp. This should save it right here, and you can see that it tells you who the user is, when it was put in here, and then its timestamp note. Okay, installation notes, same thing, right? So they're timestamp notes, and then you can look at all notes right here combined together. So that's a huge difference and addition to what people would be used to in QFloors. And then we have our estimator connection here also that goes with this. Okay, so that's how all this stuff is working. We have a proposal checkbox here, right? So if this is checked, it's a proposal. If you uncheck it, it will turn it into an order. That's kind of how this will work in this version instead of changing the status down here at the bottom. I'll come down to the bottom part of the screen here for just a second. So down here, let me see if I can scroll down like that a little bit more. Down here, you'll see that we have different, these are all sales order lines, and we have different types of lines depending on what you're looking at here. So we have, first of all, a product line right here and how much it is, and you can collapse or expand any of these lines. The very top line is called a kit. If I hover over it, it says kit. This says product. This says comment. And once you get in here, you'll get more used to what these actually look like, and so that you don't have to hover or anything like that. But you'll notice that in the kit, if I click on here, it contracts and puts everything under there. It condenses it so that if you have like a ton, like we have carpet, and let's say that we have LVT, or, you could categorize it as that, or you could do upstairs versus downstairs, or you could do, level 1 or floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, and then you could do floor 1 carpet, and then a bunch of things under carpet, and then LVT. So you can put different things under different items, right? And then collapse them. So you can see how I can collapse, and I can also collapse each of these items so that they look, they don't have all of the information, just some of the necessary information per line, right? Or you can expand them back out again. Okay, so there's a lot of different things you can do with this. I can move lines up or down. So if I click on this comment right here and want to move it down to the bottom, I can just move by pressing this arrow button up here and move it all the way down to the bottom here now. I can also grab on it, and instead of using the arrow, I can just take it and drag and drop it into another place. So you can see how I've dropped that, and now it's in a different place, right? And then I can move it back down if I want, right? So these are just some of the things that you can do. I'm going to reload this. I think I'm going to reload it. Did I get logged out or something? Getting the screen of. Said something about invalid database. Licia, did you see that?
I didn't see that, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Oh, here we go. Something about invalid database. I don't know. All right, so here we are back again. And by the way, you can lock and unlock these. If you notice that when I was in the middle of all that and it went out, this has now got a lock on it. And when it's gray like this, you cannot edit anything until it gets unlocked again. So for multiple users, that's what we have. So if I take this and I move this back down to the bottom, like where I was before, I can even, take items like like this labor right here, and we can indent them, right? So you can move those over to the right. Let's see. Which one can I indent, Licia?
You can indent any of those. You would just grab it. You could use the arrow keys, or you grab and you put it up and over.
That one's not indenting.
Not under, you can't put a product under a
Product.
product like that, I don't think.
So which one can I, it would have to be labor, right?
So you can do a labor, you can do a comment line, or you can do another kit.
Okay, there we go. So you see how the comment line indents. You can tell I don't do this every day, but you can see how that one indents like that, right? And so, or you can move it back out. Okay, so you can also delete these lines, right? So you can move them, you can delete them. So if I wanted to delete this like that, you can see that that one's now gone. So all of those things. Now, where does this come into play, right? Well, when I start to do the kits, right here, let me see if I can create a new one here. And then I add a kit from the catalog. And remember how we were messing around with this one right here. You can see that it put that kit down here onto my new sales order with all of those items that were already on there, the pad, the labor, all that kind of stuff. And then you can, from here, you can add more, right? So if I wanted to add another comment or whatever into here, I just take it and add it, and you can add more stuff onto here. Okay, so that's how kind of this thing is going to work, and how the capabilities that you have. So you have add a kit, you can add from the catalog, you can add just another kit up here at the line, you can add a product, you can add labor, you can add a comment, right? So these are all the adds here, moving sales order lines up and down. You can duplicate, all these kinds of things. We also have the ability here to print or not print every one of these lines. So you can come into here and you can say, I don't want to print that one, I don't want to print that one, or I want that one to be taxable or not taxable. So lots of capabilities and configurations for each line on here. Okay. So that's kind of the general gist of how this works. I'm going to reload back to here again. And see, I'm going to hit the job cost. So here's the job cost button up here. You can see that we pop a screen out just like we do in QFloors. But it's really different because all of the job costs for the whole sales order are here with all of the details per line. And so how this kind of works is if you click on a job cost over here, it will highlight the line on the left-hand side. It will scroll to it and highlight it onto the right-hand side, on the left-hand side. If you click on it on number 5 right here, then it brings over and highlights on the right-hand side the item that you're working on. And then you can just go in here when you do that, and you can make any change you want on any one of these lines if you want, right? So you don't have to right click, bring up the screen, make your changes, click OK, then go back to the next one, right click, make the changes, do OK. You don't have to do any of that, right? So it's all, this will make it easier to modify job costs if you're doing that a lot. Okay. So that's a major change in our job costing window. Okay. Then, those are a lot of the basic things that we've got going on here, and a lot of the things that will feel a little bit different, but you can see that it's not a major change in the concept of how QFloors works. So getting up and going and training people will not be that difficult because the concepts are all going to remain the same. Our material screen, is pretty much the same kind of thing, where it works the same way as right now. There's not a lot of, I'm sorry, not a lot of different features. It's pretty much the same. You got sales confirmation, purchase orders, on order stock, all these different screens. And I'm not going to go through them all because the way it works is basically the same way it works in QFloors right now. Okay. So that's just a kind of a, hopefully giving you a picture of where we are with QFloors, where we are with QPro, answering some of the biggest questions that we have, and then kind of giving you a feel for what this kind of is looking like. It's even a little bit different from QPro 1, not really different, but there are some differences in here and some additions and some improvements that we've made after going through QPro 1 and spending a lot of time on that. We're just, we keep improving on what we're doing. I will say our biggest team in development is in QPro 2 right now. We have about 10 people working on this full time every day. QFloors, the team is a lot smaller. So the majority of our development efforts, the majority of our money for development, the majority of your maintenance fees is all going towards creating QPro. That's where our focus is. Not to say that we've left QFloors behind, because we're still, as you all know, developing on that and creating new things there. But this is a huge project for us, and where we have most of our focus. Licia, I know I kind of talked for a full hour. Is there anything you'd like to add or say, or maybe just give them a feel for where things are at, what maybe something I left out? I don't know.
Yeah, we're very excited about this, and we're really excited about the integrations coming down too. Chad, did you touch on Skedit? Is that one?
No, I didn't. Go ahead and touch on that real quick.
So Skedit, so in the setup screen where you set up Measure Square, we do have an integration with a scheduling program called Skedit. And this is our first one, but QPro is open to integrate with other ones that maybe our customers are already excited about. We're taking in those considerations to use tools that you might already be using and integrating it. And that's really one of the big powerful things with QPro and the technology that we have, is the power that we can do to help your businesses work much more efficiently with tools that can work together and communicate with one another. So
I think you can go to their website if you want to check that out, right, Licia?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it just skedit.com?
Mm-hmm. Skedit. Put in Skedit, SKEDIT. For some reason, I feel like the ending might not be that. I think it's app or something like that. Oh, I guess it is.
It's right there, right?
Yeah.
This is it. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
So skedit.com. So this is just the first one to integrate. We're more than willing to and open to allow other scheduling or other kind of programs integrate with us. I mean, that's one of the powerful things about QPro and what we've done, right? QConnect that I was talking about earlier, that will go away. We're not going to need a QConnect for QPro, because other software programs, because we are browser-based and web-based, they can just connect directly with our APIs and stuff. And the integrations are so much more seamless and will feel not as disjointed as they do like with a QFloors program for outside programs to connect. Anything else?
I'd say we have about 10 minutes left. I haven't seen any questions come through, Chad. So unless I'm missing them, Aaron.
Oh, wait. There's a question that just came in.
All right.
Can you subtotal on lines?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Subtotal online. Yeah. By kits, right? Licia, is what they're talking about, is when things like, you can see this kit right here. This kit is a total of everything that is contained within that kit. And so if you create, kits or things that are within things that are layered within each other, the very top layer of that kit will show the subtotal of everything that is found within that kit. So you can see that right here, that this is an example, 7,900. That is all this combined together into one line that's subtotaled.
And if you had a kit within a kit, the top kit would include the other kit. Like
Would include the other one, yeah.
So
So
you can structure it however you like with that, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Hopefully that answered that question.
Did I hear you correctly that QPro does not have an accounting package built in yet?
That is correct. That is correct. So QPro is still using outside accounting packages. We have an interface to QuickBooks that people are some people are using that integration. I don't know, Licia, can you give an idea of how many people are using that? Do you know?
I would say current QPro One customers that we're looking at were like 5%. There wasn't a whole lot using it yet.
So there were some, but not the majority.
Right. No, not the majority. Yes. Yeah. It was around 5 to 10%, I would say, consistently using that one.
Yeah. And I mean, really, QPro is still being developed, and there are still a lot of features that QFloors has that QPro doesn't. And so right now, a lot of the people that are using QPro are people that have never used QFloors, that really either didn't need the advanced QFloors features that are there, or probably didn't know or understand a lot about what QFloors could do for them, right? And so they wanted to start really basic, but still, even at that, QPro, as far as browser-based systems out there, is still more advanced than anything I've seen.
If you want me to go in order of the questions that they come in.
Go for it.
The order is, how do you job cost?
Same way as you do in QFloors. So it's no different. So when you're on your job costing screen here, you're just clicking off on these boxes just like you would in QFloors. That's no different than what it is right now.
Sorry, I froze for a second. Is there a limit on who can be logged into QPro?
I'm going to let you answer that, Licia.
So it is a user-based subscription. So a single person can be logged into multiple devices, but it is a subscription-based system. So you would buy it for the amount of users that would be using at any one time.
But there's no limit, right?
No, I'm sorry, no.
What is limiting right now? Let me kind of tell you what some of the limitations are right now that QFloors users would find that are limiting. So one would be accounting system. No accounting system yet. We only have the cells and materials screen. Another one would be templates. If you're using our template feature in QFloors, that is not in here yet. If you are, we don't have a product search. When you double click on the description or style in QFloors, there's that product search window that is not in here. And then the permissions or the access rights for a user. How in QFloors, how you can have a username and password, and then there are permissions or access security rights. That feature is not in here too. So when we're talking about a lot of users, most of the companies that are using it right now are smaller companies that do not have to prevent people from seeing certain things in the software. For example, everybody can see all the screens right now. They can see all the job costing, so people that would need to limit people from that. Now, over the next few months, we're going to start adding in things like templates and permissions and things of that nature. So you'll start to see that. The last one would obviously be the accounting, because that's going to be the bigger part. And as I mentioned before, I still think we're a couple of years off on accounting.
Okay. Will other color schemes be available and will they be
Oh.
customizable by user?
I-
Yes, the color schemes that you see here, they're just prototype ones. We are improving them. We're taking suggestions. You know, so and as far as can the user customize the individual theme, that functionality isn't in here yet, but we anticipate to have a lot in there so it can feel. I'm sure there'll be some that are maybe very close to your company colors or, you know, easier on the eyes, easier, better for color blindness. So accessibility. Yeah.
You can see I just switched to blue, right? So right now we have 5 of them in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
And they're pretty
4.
easy to develop. And so it's something that I don't see ever being a problem of having some good options to choose from.
Okay.
The next one is from Sydney, and it's probably related to accounting more. How do we enter bills?
So
Mhm.
right now you don't enter bills because there is no accounting system in here. So. Okay.
And I think you already spoke to this one, Chad. Are the various setup sections password protected from the others, which are permissions?
So that's still coming.
What are your thoughts of using QFloors accounting, but using QPro for the other features?
I wouldn't do it. I mean, it's just, I wouldn't do it. I don't like having 2 separate software systems with, you know, with accounting separated out. That's not the optimal thing for a good dealer. Now, when I say that, I'm saying that because we want to get our dealers producing financial statements on a regular basis, right? That should be your goal. That should be your goal with your business. If you are not producing financial statements on a quarterly basis right now, you still got work to do. If you're only doing financial statements at the end of the year to do your taxes, you're missing out on some of the great things that QFloors can do for you. And when you separate out into 2 different software systems, one for sales and one for accounting, that's going to make getting financial statements accurate on a timely manner on a quarterly basis that much harder. And that's why I'm saying that. I don't recommend it. Now, there's people out there that aren't even doing financial statements. They kind of just throw everything to their accountants and don't even attempt it. Now, so that might be a different answer, but my answer to that is you need to work on getting your business to where you can produce month or quarterly financial statements. And then, you know, really the ultimate goal would be monthly, but you know, if you're doing quarterly, that's good. If you're doing yearly, I'm going to say that's not so good.
Okay. Right now we have a cloud and only one user on the specific cloud.
Okay.
More of a statement.
And I think that means would we be a good candidate? And I'm
Okay.
going to go back to the you can call in, we can tell you, but again, those features that we don't have, they would be limiting, and so it just depends on what features you're currently using in QFloors.
And we're getting some positive statements or feedback on people like what they're seeing. So not really questions, but a few there. Can I use the QFloors with oh, we've already talked about that. The same question, QFloors with QPro accounting. If I open multiple tabs, does each tab count towards a user? No. Nope. That's similar to, you could be the same user logged into multiple devices or multiple tabs. That does not use up your user account. Good question. Will the Q scheduler be a part of this, or do we need to use another scheduler to move over to QPro? Will we be able to customize reports? Oh, Chad, we didn't talk about custom reports.
Okay, so we already talked about the scheduler, Kelly. That's Skedit. I think we're recording this webinar, so you can go back and watch it. But we did talk about the scheduler. It won't be, QSchedule will not be part of QPro. You won't be using QSchedule and QPro. There's other scheduler technologies that we will use. And then reports customization. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that. So, so there's a couple of things right now in QPro. We don't have, like we have Q Reporter in QFloors. Right now, we cannot customize tons of custom reports like we can in QFloors. However, we can add logos and legal type information to our sales orders directly into what we have right now. So that's the customization
And
that we have,
preferences too.
and preferences, what we'll print out, right? Like hide the total or hide the quantity, or so those kind of customizations on the sales order are possible right now. But past that, it's mostly just our basic reports that we already have in here, like job costing, our contract labor reports, stuff like that, just our basic reports. But I will tell you this, the reporter that we have put into here, the ability to do customized reports in the future will be far, far greater than what you see in Q Reporter. You will be able to do a lot more yourself. We will not have to program it for you as much as we are right now in QFloors. So the reporting that we have in here and that we are working on right now is far superior to what you would see in Q Reporter. Although at this current time, custom reports are not really, if you have a ton of custom reports in Q Reporter, you wouldn't be able to do that same thing yet in QPro.
But our report will have a lot of functionality of sharing, duplicating reports, editing them themselves, like the customer have full control over kind of like what you do with a doc in a folder system. You'll be able to have a customer report created, but then you can duplicate those and tweak them just a little bit. And there's a lot of really cool things where you're actually now designing reports for that. And then I was going to say, Chad, was Skedit for customers to look at that. I mean, the technology and the tools that Skedit does that solves a lot of the latest technology with installers and communicating and scheduling are really cool in Skedit. So it feels different than Q Scheduler, I would say.
All right, and then it's cool. We got it. And I was just looking at this next question. How will we produce financial statements? I think we've had the same kind of question over and over. Maybe I think I would like to call you directly on some of this. If you could just put in your the name of your company, I'll call and answer your questions directly, just so I'm not confusing you. And that would be for Sydney. If you could just give us your company name, then we'll get back with you. Is this going to be on the website? Aaron, is this, I think we recorded this, right? So are we putting this on the website somewhere, this webinar?
Yes, it will for sure be on our YouTube channel, and then we will put it on the support site under our webinar section.
Okay, next one, are you still downloading pricing through B2B? Yes, in this version of QPro, you can download your connections through B2B just like you are in QFloors. So all the pricing, that all works in our current version of QPro. So does QPro does not create financial report. No, until we have our accounting section. We do create journal entries that we can add to other accounting systems where those financial reports would be created. So we are collecting the financial information that needs to be transferred, and in the case of QuickBooks, we actually have a connection where we transfer a journal entry into QuickBooks so that the financial reports are created there. What's Floor Magic?
I think that's the name of their company. This is another customer for you to contact them, I think.
Okay.
Probably. This was separate from the other Sydney. So
Okay.
I'm assuming a lot there.
Yeah,
But.
no, I think you're right. I think you're right. Okay. Any other questions? see, Sydney, did you have your company that we could find? We'll try to look for you in our database. Okay, I think we don't see any other questions. Those were all awesome, great questions. So thank you. Hopefully we gave you a little taste of what's going on, what we're doing. Really appreciate everybody's continued support. We really do have the best customers and very supportive of what we're trying to do. Again, I'm here to try to make the industry better and to try to help our customers. At the same time, that's what this is all about. So I really appreciate everything that you're doing. One last answer. The question is just to make sure, will this work on any device that can access the internet? Any device that has a web browser. So, I mean, just think about iPhones, iPads, it would be Androids, any kinds of tablets or laptops or MacBooks or any of those kinds of devices. They all run, we're using Chrome right now. So you would have to install Chrome if it's an iPad, or I guess most you'd have to install Chrome on, but it's a Chrome browser that this runs in. We are testing it on things like Safari and stuff like that, but right now this is a Chrome app, but it will, well, not an app, it's a Chrome environment. But Licia, I think we're testing it and all these other ones, right?
Yeah, because Safari and even Internet Explorer have adopted Chrome's technology. They're built on Chrome, but there are slight differences, so we still have to fully test. But that's what we support, is the full Chrome browser, not like a lightweight Chromebook that isn't a full Chrome browser. Some of those are apps that are Chrome, so it has to be a Chrome browser. And yeah, it can run anything that has an internet connection with the Chrome.
Can you not install a Chrome browser on a Chromebook? I guess you can't, right? Is that
Depends
what you're saying?
which kind of Chromebook. Some of them have an operating system where they use a lightweight version of Chrome, which is more like an app. But most of them now do. But some of the older versions, I know, like from 5 years ago, they weren't like a fully supported Chrome browser.
Another question here, and this is a good one. We probably didn't address this, and I didn't make this as clear as it should have been.
It's a good one.
Yeah, does this mean that we won't be using servers in the future? So this is a replacement for QFloors and QCloud. Okay, QCloud will no longer be used with this. This is a replacement. You will not need servers. We will not need servers on QCloud. QCloud will go away eventually. You know, I mean, to get all of our users converted over to this, even like we have some big users. We have stores with 150 users, 90 users, 100 users. Those types of stores, it's going to take a long time for us to get the technologies and everything that they need to get converted over. But people that are, you know, 3 users, 1 user, 5 users, those are going to be faster. And, you know, I'm expecting when we get our accounting system in here, you know, 70 to 80% of all of our customers will be able to convert over. There will still be some that won't, and it will still take time. And 10 years from now, there will probably still be a few people using QFloors because that's what they wanted. But in general, that's what this is going to be.
And Chad, I'm assuming this person might be asking this question, you know, for reasons of their data being backed up and downtime. And that's one of the also the powerful things about QPro is how we replicate the application across different data centers. So if one data center goes down, it flips you over to the other one. So you won't see downtime in QPro. Unless maybe there's fires in 2 data centers at the same time, but then also your data is being backed up, again, replicated in different areas. So there's a lot of safety and more almost 100% uptime with QPro, unless something really crazy would happen. But this is the technologies we're building in right now with QPro 2. QPro 1 didn't have this fully, but QPro 2 does, and it makes it's a little more complicated. There's a lot of servers going on, but yeah, it helps you, the user, with more peace of mind.
You did bring up, Licia, that we did more than just the user interface, right? We've built a whole new environment.
Yeah.
It's been a whole rework on the whole system and how things work. So it's more than that you can't just see. There's a lot more there. Yeah. All right. Somebody's going to show me how to turn this off now. I'm guessing. I think, let's see. Thank you everyone for being here again. I think we'll end this now.